This is
The
Unwritten.
Unwritten.
Okay, cool. What's up, guys? This is Journey Writer, and welcome to the Journey Writer Call. My name is Marissa, and go ahead, Susan.
My name is Susan.
My name is Kate.
Hey y'all, my name is Infinity.
And like I said, you're on Journey Writer Call. We're so excited to have you guys here. This is actually our first or introduction episode, at least. I'm gonna go ahead and say we've actually recorded a few episodes before this, but we wanted to go ahead and do an introduction episode to just tell you guys who we are, what our mission is, and what we plan to do in the future. I think the best way to start this off is by talking about how we got to this point. How long have we been a team, y'all? We've been a team for a while. It's probably 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years.
Long time.
For 7 years. We actually started, we actually got to know each other in college. We were all studying the same thing. We were majoring in professional writing, and a couple of us majoring in creative writing. And as we go on, you'll find out who was majoring in what. But we started, I guess initially it was me and Susan, Marissa and Susan. I don't know what it was. I think there was this particular summer in 2017 where I was getting jobs doing editorial work as a freelance editor. And I decided that I wanted to start an editorial team. Like I wanted it to be a team that was really focused on doing the things that we were already doing in creative workshops. And I called Susan. I was like, Susan, do you want to start a team with me? And she was kind of like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to work with me? Because at that point, I think we had known each other for 2 years at that point?
I think so, roughly.
Yeah. It was, and I was like, you trust me to do that? But we got together and decided to, jump in and start something that was supposed to initially be editorial team. And as time went on, I introduced the concept of Journey Writer, to Kate and Infinity and a few other people who aren't with us at this point. But we eventually got to a point where we started doing projects, started doing work, and curating things, and then life got in the way, and master's degrees got in the way, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And yet we stood strong, and we stood steady. And at this point, we are no longer just an editorial team, and our goal is not just to be editorial team. I think the girls might have different goals as we grow and as we have changed and as they have developed new skills. I think at this point, I love to call us an innovation team, a literary innovation team, meaning that we have all this space and room to bring a majority of different sorts of projects, creative projects, to the table and produce a lot of different things, not just books, not just pieces of literature, but even products and even things like this podcast, producing different creative works. And so that is basically what Journey Writer is. It's a team that produces different creative things. And so as we go on, I definitely wanted to that was my major goals with Journey Writer. I think, like I said, when I started, I was like, I definitely want this to be an editorial team. And now we've gotten to this point, I'm like, I do not want to just be an editorial team. I want to be a voice in the literary community. And I want to have a bigger part in the literary community besides books. But I don't know what you guys' goals are. And I never really get to ask you guys what you guys want to do with the team, if you have any goals.
I think my goal right now, just because it's been at the forefront of everything, is this podcast, which we're very close to launching at this point. Mm-hmm. I know at the beginning we started off editorial. We did like workshops. I know we did one at our university where we went, and I think that was really well that was going really well at the time when we were doing it. And I think now we just have to launch this podcast, and once I think my goal for right now with Journey Writer is just the consistency of our recording, me editing, and just getting it up and having a good routine schedule. I think that's my overall goal at the moment with Journey Writer.
And Susan's actually been killing it. She's literally the leader of this. So she's been killing it. And I don't think I would have been able to do any of this stuff or been as dedicated without all of y'all, but especially with Susan being like, I'm excited to do this. What about you guys? Kay, Infinity, what do you guys have any major goals or things you wish that we take or hope that we take on with Journey Writer?
Yeah, I just think I want to get a name for ourselves, get our names out there, better awareness and expansion. I really have faith in this podcast, and my goal as social media editor and stuff like that is to get our names out there and see how big our fan base can grow per se, or like our listener base. I definitely want to get our names out there and see what our niche is to the community, the literary community. And once we learn that, I think we'll be able to like step into the door and, just like keep going. So that's my main goal, is just to, expand our name, get our names out there so they can know what we're about.
Absolutely. I think you put it so eloquently, Rissa, when you stated that, we're an innovation team. And I think Kate echoed a lot of that sentiment. I think it's really cool. I don't think I've heard you say that before, but an innovation team is exactly what I think we are. And I think it's really important that we are also writers. And so thinking of other writers and supporting them throughout their journeys, whether it's print, voice like what we're doing at the moment, any like videos, things like that. I'm excited to see where it goes in terms of that. Multimedia for sure is definitely a cool avenue that I've always been interested in. So I would definitely love to see us grow. And as Kate, Susan, and Russell said, just kind of see where it takes us. I think this is something that we've been working on for a while. We've been dedicated more so within the last year. And so I'm excited to see where it takes us as we continue to be dedicated, as we continue to put the work in, and as we continue to grow.
I think that's a really dope way to put that. Yeah, I think at this point, I try to like say innovation team as much as possible. And I think innovation is a scary word because it reminds me of being in college, and we all study professional writing. All of us study professional writing. 2 of us study creative writing. 3 of us, I think, study creative writing. Am I wrong? 3? 3 of us study creative writing, and all 4 of us study professional writing. And I think what was kind of scary studying professional writing was like, we weren't told what kind of positions we could take on with professional writing. We were just told that we could do stuff, and we were being taught how to do things like make logos and make pamphlets and do usability testing. And we were like, where am I going to use this? They were just like, anywhere. And innovation gives me that same feeling. It's really a word that like really means anything, anywhere, anyway, and I think what's cool is I think when we started, I did have a specific goal, like I said, but then last year when we finally had we had this dog, when I tell you we had this hour and a half long meeting where I was talking for an hour and a half, just giving my team all these ideas I had. And I felt bad because I was like, oh my God, they listen to me talk for an hour and a half. But I was like, we could do a podcast and we could do this and we could do this. And some things we're putting in the works, and we're making plans to get started with those things. But I decided to go project by project to see how we would take it on. And this podcast is definitely something that I was excited to do because Susan was taking the lead, not gonna lie. Because Susan was taking the lead, I was like, it's gonna be dope. And Susan's got this, she knows what she's doing. And I'm excited to see how we turn out with this. But even too, as other projects have come into play, other projects have been proposed. I'm really excited to see how what voice we take on, what tone we take on, what vibe we give. I think that's always interesting when you start something. I was telling Infinity this in a previous meeting we had where we were writing episodes, and I was telling her it's always cool to watch, a team or watch a fandom grow and watch a community grow, because however you start that community is, how it's going to end. You're going to attract the people, even if you don't. You'll be surprised at people you attract, and that sort of thing. And so I'm excited to watch Journey Writer grow and watch the word innovation grow for us, what those projects come out looking like, and that sort of thing. I did want to get into a little bit in terms of introducing us. I wanted to give everybody individual time to just like talk about themselves, because I think as you get into the episodes, you literally, as you guys listen to these episodes, you will literally realize that one, Marissa talks too much. Two, uh, we give personal information or personal perspectives on things, but it might be hard to keep up with who is actually talking. So I want to give everybody time to get familiar with everybody's voice. And I guess we can start with Susan.
So I guess just to kick it off a little bit, because we're just kind of going off script here, a little bit about me, just kind of outside of Journey Writer. I went to the University of Central Arkansas and I got my bachelor's degree in creative writing, and I minored in professional writing. And then afterwards, I went and got my master's of arts in mass communications. I was a journalist for a brief period, and I am now currently an administrative and communications coordinator. I got married a little over 2 months ago, so exploring new married life and working on this podcast. I guess a few fun facts about myself is I grew up in Arkansas, but I currently live in Iowa, because when I was a journalist, I had to move to a very, very small town in Iowa called Ottumwa, Iowa, in order to pursue that career. And I learned that the lifestyle was not what I wanted. And so that's when I looked elsewhere for a different type of career. And I've landed recently in kind of a dream role for myself right now. And I plan on being in this role for quite some time. And it's been a real ride. You know, I remember when me and Marissa were when Marissa first told me about Journey Writer, and it was just really in the baby stages. And now 7 years later, we're getting something pretty cool off the ground. And I guess some more information, I handle the production side of the podcast. So I record it and then I edit the episode, but Kate handles, she's been helping with like the intro and getting the graphic together. So she also works behind the scenes on the podcast too. Because I probably couldn't do all that. She's a creative when it comes to social media and music and what looks and sounds good. So really lucky to have all that help. And it's just been it's been an interesting ride so far. I think going into kind of the literature side of things, it's been a while since I picked up a book, and we touch on this in I think a later episode where we talk about reading and writing slumps a bit. So stay tuned for that. And we will also be talking about careers and things. But I think when it comes to the literature side, I would say it's been a while since I picked up a book, like I said earlier, but that's something that I'm hoping to change in the future, is getting out of my reading slump and hopefully out of a writing slump. I have written a manuscript. I just haven't done anything with it yet. And so hopefully maybe in the next couple of years, once I'm a little bit more settled and figure out what I actually want to do with it, or if I want to start a new project, eventually that'll happen. I enjoy fiction and contemporary, and then maybe a little bit of historical fiction, but I think in terms of reading, and then when it comes to writing, I really enjoy contemporary fiction. And I'm a sucker for a good love story. So anytime I write something, there's usually a love story involved, just because I think it's fun. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. It's just a bunch of random facts, but whoever wants to go next, maybe I can fill in on myself a little bit more later on.
Okay, I guess I'll go. So I'm a writer turned to tech. I got my bachelor's and my master's in creative writing from the University of Central Arkansas. And after that, I kind of like stumbled trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I got into, just like Susan, I did journalism for a while, but it was print. So it was a newspaper and I really enjoyed it. And then, COVID hit. And then I went to marketing and I realized I hated marketing so much. And then I ended up now in tech because it's something else that I like doing. I kind of like dibble and dabble in a bunch of different hobbies and entities, and like I love web stuff. I also like creating social media stuff, graphics, videos, all of that. I even like dabble in YouTube videos sometimes, but I think my heart is writing, and I can do all kinds of writing, scripts, speeches, short stories, prose, poems, all of it. My favorite probably has to be young adult fiction and historical fiction. And currently, I am still working on my illustrative narrative. That was my thesis, actually. I completed part one of my thesis, and now I'm working on part two, which is kind of an integrated illustrative narrative where I'm drawing my main character right now. She's this Black girl, and she's a senior in high school, and she's going to solve the death. I mean, she's going to solve the mystery of her mom's death. So I'm currently working on that right now. But it's kind of still more in the history. I mean, like the studying stage right now. I'm still like doing a bunch of research for it. What else about me? I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. And currently right now, I think I've been really getting more into historical fiction lately. So I've been reading a lot of books that are set in like the 1940s, and as well as TV shows right now. So currently right now, I've been reading Outlander, and I don't know why, because it has nothing to do with my book, but I've been obsessed with it lately. So yeah.
I like adding the mystery though. They're really good at mystery and at solving
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's really dope. What about
Yeah.
you, Finn?
All right, so my name is Infinity Ingram. I'm originally from Nassau, Bahamas, born and raised. And I kind of say all of that because that context kind of helps you figure out who I am, right? A Black woman, international student living in the US. And that has been my story, and that has been the lens that I kind of approach life from. Similar to the young ladies on the call, I also went to the University of Central Arkansas, where I got my Bachelor of Arts in Professional Writing with a minor in linguistics. And then I wasn't quite ready to like leave college. So I was like, let me go get my master's in higher education. And so a lot of us folks that are in higher ed, or those that like were super involved on campus, we just always love the campus life. And so I kind of fell into higher education. And then at the moment, I serve as the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admission at NHBCU in Texas, which has been really exciting. I consider myself more of a qualitative person, but this job has really encouraged me to be more quantitative, more numbers and less stories, but I'm really big on relationship building and things like that. For me, I like self-help books, honestly. I honestly don't dabble that much at this point in my life into more of the entertainment style of literature. I think similar to our podcast, our name, I'm also on a journey, right? And that is to be the best version of myself. And so I woke up one day and I was just kind of like, I could be really good at something and I just don't know what it is. I don't know if you all see, like, sometimes people do videos of them like creating faces out of salt or like some really random stuff. And I'm like, how do they know that they're good at this? Right. So I've been kind of on a quest to figure out what I've been good at. And over the last year or so, I found that I've really been enjoying like fitness stuff. So strength training, but also like cycling and Pilates and yoga and all that stuff. Have really been into like healthcare and wellness. So figuring out how to incorporate that in my day-to-day practices, even working in admission and kind of just, enjoying that space. I really do enjoy editing. I love whenever I have students that come to me and they want me to review their essay, or I have friends that are applying for grad schools that want me to read over their essays or things like that. So my heart is still definitely in editing in that type of way. I really enjoy helping people perfect their craft and just do a little bit better, kind of give them a different perspective. So that's a little bit about me.
No, y'all did excellent. I don't really know how to arrange who I am at this point in my life. But I guess the best way to say this is, obviously, I don't think everybody gave their roles in the team. We got Susan. She's our production manager, and she works on the podcast, and she does, all the editing, and she keeps me mentally aligned. And then you have Kate that does our social media, and she's working on doing a lot of our graphics, and she's such a big help when it comes to that. Infinity is really great at being a great support when it comes to writing episodes, especially right now on the podcast. And I think as time goes on, those positions might not change up, but magnify and expand as we take on different projects. But said all that to say at this point that I consider myself a team leader. I never want to call myself the president or the CEO. I'm just a team leader, Marissa. And I studied a lot, man. I took on 2 master's degrees in my undergrad at University of Central Arkansas as a creative writer and a professional writer. And then I was convinced by a professor that I would be great in a master's program. And so I moved all the way to California and took on 2 master's degrees at once. I dropped one of them, not because I couldn't do it, but because I was sick and tired of being in literature classes. And so I just studied creative writing. In terms of what books I like, and that actually is something that we get into in our reading slumps episode, but how hard it's been to actually get back into books. And actually, I wanted to tell Kate, I'm almost done with One Summer in Savannah because I got the audiobook. I'm almost done with it. I literally have 2 hours left. But it's been a tough journey, you all, trying to get back into reading, figuring out who I am as a grown woman. Reading. Me and Susie were talking about this a couple weeks ago, but I'm almost 30, and it's taken me a long time to grow out of YA and figure out what my boundaries are. And so at the moment, I'm reading books like One Summer in Savannah, which is adult fiction. I could say romance fiction, that sort of thing. And I'm a big K-drama fan and a huge foreign drama fan. So most of the time, that's my daily entertainment. If you ask me about Marvel, anything, I don't know, because I'm probably not watching that. I'm probably not watching anything in English. But that kind of influences the kind of things I like to read, the kind of things I like to consume, and it influences deeply the kind of stuff I like to write. Kind of like Kate at the moment, in the middle of a project, writing a project. I've written actually a script version of it. I haven't started writing the book version of it. I started the script when I was in my master's degree, and then I realized that I want to see it in book form first. So it's mostly just been me putting down big, like, I don't know if you do this, Kate, but do you like write down paragraphs of a scene in your head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No idea where it's going to go. It's not going anywhere yet, but you
Yeah.
have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm writing a bunch of big chunky paragraphs and hoping that they fit in somewhere or I use them eventually. And I don't know. I wanted to address something Infinity said about trying to figure out what I'm good at. Trying to figure out who I am, because I think it's so funny when I came up with the name Journey Writer. I was literally thinking about books and how, for me growing up, books were always a blessing because they allowed for escapism. And I think a lot of people like to run away from that word when it comes to literature or it comes to things that entertain you or bring you joy. You don't want to say it's a source of escape or a tool for escape, but books were that for me a lot as a kid. And so I think when I was coming up with the name Journey Writer, I was thinking about books specifically and how I could help other writers create books that allowed readers to escape. And now when I think about Journey Writer and I think about, putting the word together with innovation, I think that something that I really want to do, that I really want to become good at, I think, yeah, something I really want to become good at is being a good team leader when it comes to working with Journey Writer. I'm not a great leader, and I'm great at coming up with ideas. And I remember, I will never let this go. If Susan said this to me like a couple of years ago, I remember we were talking and she said, "You're great at coming up with ideas." and I think the way she said it made me think, but I understood that she meant like like you're great at coming up with ideas, but you need help when it comes to executing those ideas because my ideas are always so big and grand. And so I want to be better at being a good leader. I know I'm good at a lot of things. I don't doubt that I'm a good writer. That's just what it is. I don't really doubt that. I know I'm good. And I know I put good people on my team. They're also great writers. And so I don't doubt that. And there are other things I'm pretty good at that I'm pretty confident in. But when it comes to leading this team, I'm always kind of hesitant and I'm always doubling back and thinking back and so I think as I go on with Journey Writer and as I go on trying to figure out what it means to be an innovative team or innovation team, I hope to become a better leader. Yeah, I think that's really important for me. But I do wonder too, for you guys, I'm keep asking all the questions. Does anybody else have a question when it comes to Journey Writer?
Kinda. So since this is gonna be our intro episode, I had a moment where I like saw our logo as it is, right, with the
Mm-hmm.
JW, and I was like, I wonder if this has any connection with her religion, JW.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever realized that, but I was like,
I
I wonder if
did.
there's a connection there. So if you would like to elaborate, because
Oh,
I think it was already Journey Writer when I came into the picture. So if you want to talk a little bit more about like how the name came to be, I think that would
oh,
be a
okay.
good addition.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't connect it to Jehovah's Witnesses at all at the time. I just kind of, it just, Journey Writer itself just came to me because of that escapism concept. But it it was later because originally when I originally wrote it out on like this business card. So I went to what is that business card company that everybody uses? Um, I forgot what it's called, but I was printing cards for myself, and originally it was just going to be like it was just going to be me. I was just going to do editorial work, but I wanted to call my company Journey Writer, and I had just wrote it all out in one big word. I just wrote it all out. And it actually wasn't until Kate made the logo that I said, dang, that says JW. Um, and it was it was so interesting because what the concept I gave Kate was like literally just a bunch of like flowers, like it was a bunch of vines. It was just a white picture, white background with a bunch of black vines, and Journey Writer was in the middle of it, kind of connecting the vines. And Kate came back and she gave me just the flower and JW in the middle. And I was like, huh. And now every time I look, like, of course, when I do Bible study and stuff, I'm just looking at my apps like, wow, this is weird. I don't know how I did that. But I really did not connect it to being my religion at all. It really was just about books and for me, just about that idea of being a writer and what your end goal is when you are a writer, which makes me wonder what is you guys' end goal when it comes to the theme.
Okay, so what was your question? We can probably kind of maybe wrap up with that, our end goal.
Yeah. So I just wondered what you guys' end goal is when it comes to, like, of course we talked about what an ultimate goal is, but when it comes to being a writer and when it comes to um being a part of the team, do you guys have any micro goals? Anything you want to take from Journey Writer? I think we talked a little bit about everybody kind of talked about what their goals were in their personal life and what they're doing outside of Journey Writer. But I wondered what you guys' goal, like personal growth goals are within Journey Writer.
Oh, I think my personal growth goal would be to get back into writing just because I've been out of it for so long, just with like school and the jobs that I've had have required so much out of me in terms of writing and reading that I think it burned me out a little bit. And so I'm hoping now I'm getting into a very comfortable place in my life where there's more consistency and structure. And so I'm hoping that I can start fitting things in like writing and reading into my life because I wasn't able to do that when I was a reporter because I was working all the time, even when I wasn't on the clock. And so I think that's my personal growth and also just professional because I like to think I'm a good writer, but I'm also a writer that's very out of practice right now. And so that's something that I would also like to sharpen again because I like to reminisce when I was in college and I'd be working on a story. And, I think we can all relate to this when you're working on something and you just kind of like get into the groove of what you're writing and you keep like editing, you're going back and forth and you think of this really neat thing to add into what you're writing. Like, oh, I need to add in this twist. This would work so well. And you go back and you fix things. And it's just there's something so satisfying about that. And you just get really deep in focus. And to me, I honestly find a lot of fun in that too. And so I really, really want to get back to that. So that would be my goal through Journey Writer, but then also personally.
So
I think for me, now that I feel like I've done so many different jobs and stuff, I definitely want to take the marketing skills and assets that I acquired from my old job and use it to, like really elevate Journey Writer and help us like grow. Like I know we already said that, but personally, I know I have kind of like the skills to use to benefit from for a Journey Writer. And like definitely like when I see like these small podcasts and the way they're growing, I know it's something that I can do and I know it's very achievable. I just like have to put in the time and like the extra dedication to do it. So that's one of my main goals.
mm.
For sure. I relate to that 100%, especially as I was driving home and it's like dark. I'm like, what the heck? The day's already gone, So I definitely relate to that. I think for me, one of my personal goals with Journey Writer is to be a part of like co-edit, co-author, edit, whatever, a number one New York Times bestseller. I feel like we can definitely do that. I feel like we all have the skills to get to that point. And I feel like there's always a ton of like New York Times bestselling, novels. So I don't think that's like, unattainable. And it would be cool if like, how Obama has like the yearly things that like he comes out with, like favorite book, things like that. That would be kind of cool if we were featured as a part of something like that. Like, I think that would be super cool. So that's where I'm looking at.
Oh snap! That's great, man.
That's a big goal. I'm like just like I want to get back into writing again. Infinity's over here like, let's end up on Obama's list of favorite things.
I know. I'm like, dang, we gotta get on Reese Witherspoon's list and all Oprah's list.
Right. No, one of my favorite quotes is shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land upon the stars. So it's like if we shoot that high, I have no doubt that we'll make it. And if we don't make it, we'll be really close to it. So
yeah, I think I really appreciate that. It's very encouraging to hear you guys say that because I think when I because I am the type of person that kind of just goes for it when I know I just want to go for it. I was explaining, I think there was a later episode where I kind of like said something like, y'all, I moved to California and I had no expectations. I just went. I didn't know anything about California. I didn't even really know the school I applied to was in California. I got the acceptance letter. They were like, it's in California. I said, okay, I'll go. And that's how that's how I can be. I'm not like that all the time, but I can be like that. And I think that's how I approach Journey Writer sometimes is to see where we'll go and how far we'll take it and what we'll take on. I try not to put us under such a bar and also put such pressure on us to be excellent or to be the best in the room, but just be whoever we are and whatever we can bring to the table. And so I think in terms of I already said I want to be a better leader in terms of a personal growth thing, but I think something that I really want to do too with Journey Writer is not just one produce like an excellent book. I really want to produce an excellent book, but I also want to produce a book that I can share with my family and show my skill to that shows my skill and shows the skill there is in creating an innovation team, especially to my family. Not that they don't doubt that I'm a good writer, but I think they underestimate. And I don't think it's kind of like one of those things where when you say you're an editor, everybody just assumes you're the one kind of editor. And when you say you're a writer, everybody just assumes you're one kind of writer. I want to show my family the kind of writer I am, the kind of leader I am, the kind of editor I am, and what kind of dreams I have. And so I think journey writer has to become more serious in their eyes, and that's something that's really important to me. I think it is serious to them, but they're not. They're just kind of letting me do it. They don't know what it is. And I'd say it like that because I remember I was talking to my grandmother, and she said, "What did she say?" I had said something about, at the moment, journey writer is not making money. I said something like that, and she was like, "Yeah, it's a project. It's your project." And I went, it's not just my project. And so I hope that one day it can become something bigger than that. So I guess since I think this is a great episode, and I think that as we go on a little bit more, you guys will get to hear more about who we are, what we're about, who we want to become, and what, and I think you'll hear a lot more about advice. And it'll seem like the episodes are all very random, but I promise you these episodes were written and we were thinking about how we wanted to go about this season of showing you who we are personally and what makes up journey writer. So that's what the name of this season is, the personal. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you enjoy the next episode, which will give you a little bit more insight on our literary goals and our literary opinions and facts. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
What's up, guys? This is Marissa, and you have just ended a Journey Writers Call. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Unwritten, and that you laughed with us, that you vibed with us, and that you learned a lot, and also that you'll join us again. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on our Instagram, our Twitter, and our Facebook. You can find links to any of that social media in our show notes, along with any of the links to the information that you may have had interest in while you listen to the episode. We really appreciate you, and we hope to hear from you guys again. Bye-bye.